This episode of Super GG Radio is brought to you by our Patreon. Patrons of the show can get our Dogs of Super GG Radio newsletter, Super GG Radio stickers to slap on your closest PC or bag, input on what we cover, game nights with the hosts, and even a chance to win a copy of an indie we talked about. Not only that, but 90% of all patron contributions go to the Children's Miracle Network of Hospitals. Visit patreon.com/superggradio to learn more.
What's good, Internet, and welcome to session 204 of Super GG Radio, where friends chat about video games and all things adjacent. I'm your bumbling buffoon of a host, Eric Getty Gettinger. I'm out for revenge this week after missing all the fun. I missed Bezak. Real disappointed about that. Let's go ahead and welcome Alex Arona, who almost left us for a career in acting.
You are tearing me apart, Getty!
It sounded too much like you were trying to do Shakespeare at the same time that you were doing the other voice.
I was going Eastern European.
I don't know about that.
Something about the apart of that sentence. I think that's where you need to work on.
These are good notes.
Also, no one gets that reference, Alex. Now, go pick up all the spoons you threw.
Threw a lot of spoons.
Yeah. Let's do a bunny hop over to our dedicated egg decorator, Joel DeWitt.
Every year I smell of vinegar and have odd-colored hands.
You owe that to Paz. You owe that to Paz. You give your yearly deposit.
Oh. Is that true? I was spitballing here.
Yeah, no, I mean, there is... Your hands need to be washed several times before the smell of vinegar goes
You're supposed to use the wire dropper.
You're supposed to.
That doesn't save you.
Yeah, you have to flip them eventually.
Have you actually used those before?
It's trash.
Garbage. Pure garbage.
All right. Well, I'm egg static for your latest egg ventures. Last and never least is resident Hobbit Snatcher Alec Parks.
How does one become a Hobbit Snatcher?
We will answer that question this week. And all of your fan emails. For our audience of viewer.
Getty, it's just your wife who's harassing us. We've banned her twice already.
I was there for one of them, I'm sure.
She keeps making new screen names.
Yeah. So this week we kill off Sonic and early adopters, April Fool it up in the news, then battle for supremacy in the backlog. But first, early adopters, where we play alphas, betas, and games that kill me with cuteness. That applies to at least one of these.
I would
Maybe
say
two.
3 of them. All 3 of them.
One of them is not cute at all.
Yeah, 2 out of 3.
Disagree. They were all adorable.
All right, so the one that I thought was adorable in a sick, twisted way.
Meat machine?
AK-Xotol.
Oh, okay.
AK-Xotol?
AK-Xotol.
Yeah.
Because of the little thing that you play. Little amphibian fish monster with an AK-47.
So that's what I was referring to.
Yes, that's... Yes. Oh, you didn't get that?
No.
Imagine if you will.
I probably should have noticed from the different colored AK at the beginning than the rest of the word, but no.
Yeah, imagine if you will, Enter the Gungeon meets Hades?
Yep.
Does that seem like a fair assessment? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was real. This is like the 3rd game that I think I've played that, and not all of these are like early adopters. Just in general, like the last year, I've picked up a game and be like, man, this sure is Enter the Gungeon, which is not a bad thing. I really like Enter the Gungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cult of the Lamb is probably a most recent one that comes to mind, at least in terms of the gameplay structure, right?
The guns. It's purely that Enter the Gungeon.
Because
it has the reload bar.
The reload. The reload bar and the
Switch on the fly. Yep.
and the dash.
Yup. I had some problems with the dash, but I digress. You are at AK-Xotol. Is that actually how you pronounce it?
It's close
That's how I would
enough.
pronounce it.
Yeah. So you are this little amphibian creature, or like I said, I'm not sure if it's a fish. It's adorable either way. But you have a gun. You enter, in the demo at least, the forest, and you are fighting off different critters, caterpillars, bunny rabbits, just like anything that they're throwing at you. Sometimes it's like a
Ladybugs.
rat with a gun.
Yeah, the rats with the guns and the alligators that jump at you.
You get
Oh, the
a
alligators really like try to take a bite out of you.
like a raccoon with a crossbow. is out of control. But it has that same format of Hades where you can enter multiple doors after you complete a stage. So depending on what you're looking for, either power-ups or more of the currency that can be used in-game to get unlocks, even upgrades to your weapons. Those are all things that you can locate by navigating in the stage and then moving on to another stage. But it is rather difficult to get the currency in order to go back and unlock stuff. I don't know about you guys. I only was able to get 2 new guns, and still getting them to drop was even more challenging.
They definitely aren't like it's adding them to your run, not giving them to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get good because I could never get past the 3rd stage.
Same. Yeah, it felt like the controls are straightforward, right? It's just it felt like a brick wall at the outset in terms of difficulty, because you get 3 hits available to you, and things do move at a quick enough pit where if you don't have a good line of sight, you're going to get crowded, and that's sort of what my downfall was. Another thing I noticed is one of the levels that would pop up, it would be just a giant river going around in a rectangle or square.
Yep.
And it creates this problem where you can't get anywhere near them. So they're dropping enemies in the center, and it ends up being kind of a shooting gallery. But then you are constrained by the same river, and you have like a tiny sliver of space to move around with hazards and pits and stuff.
Well, you dodge roll into the middle and then dodge roll out.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Well, now
Yep.
now that is not there's something wrong with the game
Pro
problem,
tip.
and there's something wrong with me problem.
Also, at one point, my AK-47 became like a laser, like I want to say it was like a rail gun. It would just blast across the screen, and it would actually take out 3 guys if it hit 3 people. Just like
You get a sniper rifle. Yeah.
Yep. So that was
Nice.
pretty good and handy. So I would just line them up. I'd get them in one spot and just zoom.
Yeah, so that's a good question. Did everybody have a favorite starting weapon versus a weapon that they picked up in the stages?
I
Joel's
like the shotgun.
you could change starting weapons?
It wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Shotgun. I liked the nice spread on the attack, and it acted more like a defensive maneuver than a sharp shot, and I appreciated that stability when trying to approach these.
Spray and pray.
Yeah.
I was the AK-47 guy, but then just the straight shots. But then being able to use the rail gun when it became available was really handy. I was really good at with these games. I'm actually really bad kind of with aiming, so it takes me an extra second to aim everything out. The way I hold game sticks, I push on the side of the stick, not on top of it. So it's
You're
like
so weird.
Yeah, it's a weird thing with me. So aiming is a little bit tricky, but having that railgun, lining everything up and getting that shot, I just have to be a little bit more patient. But when I do, it just clears half the enemies out, and it's really nice.
I do think the actual aiming itself, it feels very, very responsive to the point where it's hard to control a bit. Did anybody play with mouse and keyboard? Because I was wondering if maybe it would work better there than a controller.
I can imagine it would, because you're moving your mouse completely around the character.
Right.
You have more fine control.
Yeah. That was...
I played it on deck.
Nice.
It is very well suited on the Steam Deck, even for a demo. So I recommend that if you've got one. Otherwise, Controller, I would argue, is probably a better fit for something like this. But I've had a lot of practice with.
But if you have like a lot of, if you want really intense, like precise controls, I feel like the mouse would be better.
I don't know. But if nobody tried it, who's to tell if that is actually an option? I feel like there was something else I wanted to touch upon here. I did make it to the boss multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
But I kept getting stuck when he goes to, I think it's like phase 3. First couple phases, no problem. That last one, though. Maybe it was just an issue with the weapon. I did get a few new characters, and I was swapping between them, but I kept going back to
Did
the
you join their
gold one.
Discord?
Hmm?
You got a bonus character if you join their Discord.
Oh, cool. Do you know what it did?
No, I didn't get the chance to play as them, but it was like a little flowery character. He was like bright and yellow.
Some of it's just cosmetic. Others is, one of them has shields instead of the hearts. And then I want to say there was something else, but and they have different abilities too. So that's even further reinforcing the Gungeon-ness of this game. Overall,
Gungeon had some really cool characters.
Yeah, with diverse abilities. So I'm interested in this. I don't know about you guys. Maybe.
Oh, I was one of the picked this because I saw this as one of the Steam Next Fest demos that was still ongoing, and I really liked this one.
Yeah.
This
Joel
type-
has a problem with it, so
Well, my problem is that this type of game is not in my natural wheelhouse, and when they're not like that, then it has to be something specific that gravitates to my eye.
Joel hates indie games.
Yeah,
that's not
Shooter
true.
you like it's shooter roguelikes.
Yeah.
like these kinds of games.
Yeah,
the bullet hells and the like.
Yeah, so it's a roadblock that I can't get over sometimes unless there's something that specifically catches my eye, maybe like a unique gameplay hook, or meaningful story type stuff. But just I don't have enough of a feel for this yet to know if it's at that marker, I guess.
I see where you're going with this, and I'm going to let Alec jump in, see if he's interested.
I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's fun, but it's on my wish list, but it's not a day one purchase for me.
Now, important question. What price, Alec, would be a day one purchase for you?
Day one purchase would be $10.
I'm feeling like $10 is pretty good for this, too. All right. Now, if we want to shift gears and move into something that's more of Joel's wheelhouse, at least in story, we can talk about Murder on the Orient. No, that's not it. It's the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
There you go.
Not Murder on the Orient Express. That's definitely what this is.
This game was absolutely adorable. I don't care who you're talking to. It's like absolutely it's a delight.
I'm just telling you that this is. I've seen
Literally.
this movie. I've heard about this book. Who killed Sonic the Hedgehog?
Is there a way to get it wrong?
No, I tried many times.
But this is a 2-hour visual novel where Sonic and pals, which I was very happy they included the Chaotix, if not all of them, at least some of them, and referenced several others. They Amy Rose is having a birthday party where they were doing a murder mystery party on a train, a very modernized special train, and you are an unnamed character who happens to be his first day on the train.
Stop right there.
Yes.
It lets you name the character. I want to know names right now.
You're unnamed for the most part.
I want to know names, up and down.
And then they...
No, don't move on. I named my character Alex.
I named my character Alex as well.
Bob.
And
Steve.
Steve? Okay, Steve's pretty good.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Alex is the only one that used his own name.
That's fine. I do it in every game. That's what I do. And then you and Tails team up to try to solve the murder mystery, but turns out there is a bigger plot in play where there is something sinister afoot.
Yeah, I think you're going too far into it.
It was awesome.
Just leave it as the murder mystery.
It was awesome.
I mean, there's always something extra going on. The murder's just the pretense.
That's true.
So, who finished? I did. Alex did.
Mm-hmm.
Interest in finishing for those of you who did not.
Oh, I definitely want to finish it.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I warned you ahead of time. I warned you both ahead of time.
That's good. It is fairly short. The
2.5
gameplay
hours,
mechanics.
maybe?
It is, as Alex said, visual novel with point-and-click elements and, what he failed to mention, maybe he was just waiting for it, a fun little chibi Sonic the Hedgehog game where you're running and collecting coins, and the environment's trying to... Yeah, coins. I said it.
Rings.
Nope. Are you triggered yet? Did you miss me?
Calling Dzak. I'm texting Dzak right now.
Get back here. Yeah. Yeah, so... but playing as Sonic, it's as close to Sonic the Hedgehog as you get in gameplay. It feels kind of like a mobile game in that regard. I feel like this really could be played as a mobile game too.
Yeah,
Alright.
probably. It probably could. And we're going to get there. We have some news on this in the news section. But just in general, this was built as an April Fool's Day joke. This is not the first that we've seen of this ilk. What have we seen? Streets of Kamurocho. That was a Sega joint where it was a Streets of Rage game, but it was the characters from Yakuza. Let's see what else. We've seen a couple of things from Sega making games on April Fools, and each time it's just a love letter to those games and those characters. There's a lot of inside jokes and a lot of like side jokes to these characters, little bits and pieces. Like you see Big the Cat around, like, you know, just in the background, or you see like, oh yeah, this is a Chow, and then this is a Flicky, and this is like, and these are all just cuts of these characters from other games. So it turns out all of Sonic is canon. You know, just these little bits that I think are pretty good, including just like later on some other characters referencing their state in the game, saying like, oh, you know, I'm always kind of around. like there's a whole thing later on at the end, like when you get to the ending, the ending, one of the characters goes, oh, I really didn't know what was going on. I was just kind of hanging out, and then this kind of happened, and I was like, well, okay, I guess that's cool. Like it's nice that like these characters, or like at one point one of the characters goes, do you think that this is all I do? I do a lot of things. Like I have a lot going on outside of these guys. You know, you see, so you get a little bit of the like very fun characterization of these guys, like giving them more depth than what you normally would, but also like putting them outside in the real world is very funny. Turns out Amy Rose, big K-pop fan.
In the game.
So, I really enjoyed it. It is very funny.
Yeah, there's good banter.
Definitely solid writing. You know, got a few smiles out of me playing through it, and very, very well drawn. So all the characters sort of pop from the foreground and are very distinct in that way, and just lots of humor in the way you're searching for items too, and the way you interrogate these different characters. Just that's where that mini game comes into play, is that when you choose to interrogate them and present items, you at some point it initiates that to make them sort of give up the ghost and start telling you the information you need to know. And so it had just enough activity in it to keep it from being a dry thing. And I also like that because it's a mini game for trying to think about how you're going to interrogate somebody. It just starts out with think. Yeah. And instead of doing like a Chaos Emerald, it's a light bulb that you grab. And I like that your character is given some depth, where every time anybody says anything, your character goes, oh man, he's so cool. But then also
he'll say something and everyone goes, "Oh, that's a pretty good idea." And he's like, "Oh my god, they think I have a good idea." It's very funny. You see a lot of also them because they are known as being so famous for their escapades and being kind of rich because of all the escapades they've gotten. You hear a little bit of them. And I don't want to say that they're bad people, but there is also a little bit of like, "Oh, is this your first time? Good, you're doing a good job, buddy." Like really kind of patting you on the back, but also being like, "You're patronizing me." You know what I mean? But it's your character plays along with it because again, it is his first time to getting in an adventure and being kind of nervous about it and all that stuff. So,
No.
they bring him along and they welcome him into the fold in a nice way.
It's your job to make sure that these people have a good time on the train.
That's true.
You got one job.
You got one job.
And the flashbacks remind you that you had one job.
You have one
and you
job.
still let Sonic the Hedgehog die.
Womp womp.
Oh, oh.
All right, so we had some fun this week. Now time to be completely mortified by what I'm about to say out loud.
Yep.
This was another April Fool's game, right?
No.
Or this is a real game. All right.
It's a real game. They made it as a fun goof, but it came out like in March. It's coming. No, it was the demo came out in March, so it's like not necessarily an April Fool's game.
All right.
And the game's not out yet. It's coming out.
Dr. Fetus Mean Meat Machine.
If you've ever played a Meat Boy
Super
game,
Meat Boy.
his Dr. Robotnik, Dr. Eggman is Dr. Fetus. And they really do a good job of kind of like the game starts and it's just Dr. Fetus starting his day, having a cup of coffee, kind of just doing his thing, like typing up a report and then hitting the download and then going and working on his evil machines, but in a real Despicable Me kind of way. There's like a cute little, like almost like it reminded me a little bit of the introduction to Curb Your Enthusiasm, where it's like he's got a own little theme song and he's just working away, and then once the intro kind of ends, it's like, okay, you're working on the Mean Meat Machine, and it's basically Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, but with some added twists, and that's why I thought it was very fun. I really liked just the intro. I watched that intro like 3 times.
Yeah, it's a pretty good intro.
It really reminded me of the intro to Despicable Me.
So, this is... You said it's like Dr. Robotnik's Bean Machine?
Or essentially Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Okay, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, Puyo Puyo.
But it throws all these crazy elements at you as you progress through the stages. So you'll start out pretty simple, just dropping your little pieces, trying to match them up, and then you'll unlock like these bars on the side of the screen. So there's a gauge. After you complete a gauge, it disables a lock. Mm-hmm. Unlock everything, stage ends. But it gets ridiculous. There's saw blades. There's lava. There's rockets. At one point, it's shooting rockets at you.
Yep.
And then as you get to the end, there are boss fights. The boss fight in this demo is a giant machine with 2 chainsaws and a spiked rolling pin. It's out of control.
And the idea is that you're supposed to be dropping your pieces down and making these collections of 4 to, explode them and then build them to the next level. But the entire time you're dropping them down the little hallway to get to the bottom, a la Tetris or Puyo Puyo, there are chainsaws and buzzsaws and rockets and all this stuff trying to stop your pieces from making it to the bottom. So not only is it the element of matching the colors, instead of speed being the factor actually is just getting your pieces from the top to the bottom is death-defying.
Mm-hmm.
And there are levels where they focus on the speed, though, because every time you drop something, it'll have a buzzsaw that's going in circles and will take out half of the clones that you've dropped.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you got to get them down as fast as you can to get them to explode before the buzzsaw comes.
Yep.
See, that's a cool twist. I don't think I've ever seen a Tetris or Puyo version that's just that has that as the mechanic.
No,
did
there are
finish it? Anybody finish it?
I didn't.
not quite. No.
I got stuck on the salt levels.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. All right, so I'm a loser for finishing it. Thanks.
No, it means that you got good.
Yeah, but the interesting part of this game is that it platformizes a puzzle game. So like the way you have to move the puzzle pieces down through the stretch feels like kind of like Super Meat Boy when you're having to jump and bounce around these hazards to get to the end. The other interesting part is that if you get sawed or hit on the way down, it forces you to restart. But then hazards can go down and destroy your puzzle that's already laid out, and then it sort of makes you restart too. So it's interesting how they got that right kind of hook in it.
Yeah, and again, it's just that I had never. We've seen some interesting takes on Tetris before, including like I remember Mixolumia, where there was like a diamond in the middle and it would split the puzzle in half. But I don't think I've ever seen one kind of like this, and that gets me very excited for it.
It's crazy.
I love new and unique ideas.
Are we good on Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine?
I wishlisted it.
Good to know. Good to know. I'm still
Team
on the
Meat
fence.
does a pretty good job. Team Meat does a solid job.
I will not argue that. I just don't know how I feel about this. It's kind of infuriating at times.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's
but so was Meat Boy though.
Yeah, that's their sensibility when it comes to difficulties. So if you have experience with it, you know what you're getting into. But otherwise,
All right. Well, sorry to spoil it, everybody, but it was Tails all along.
He just
You're a
wanted
mean
his
guy,
time
man.
to shine.
Just kidding. Let's get some chili dogs. Take a break. Hey News, we have a new OnlyFans page opening up soon.
Yes, finally, it's my time to shine!
You want to see what it's about? You'll have to wait till the end of this segment. Now time for my least favorite part of Super GG Radio, the news.
You really
Why?
hate the news. You hate the news so bad.
I don't like news. All right. We don't have as many news items this week. I think we should be able to make it through this in about, 6 minutes. No, I already see Alex like, you can try.
I'm going to slow us down a bunch.
Yeah, you are. All right. First up, Devolver Digital acquires Doinksoft, the makers of Gato Roboto.
Say it again, Getty.
Doinksoft? I mean, I already said Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine, so...
Joel podcast episode title, Say It Again, Getty.
All right, I'm leaving it at that unless you have something you wanted to...
Gato Roboto
Gush
2
about?
in development.
Okay.
Gato Roboto 2 in development. I really like Gato Roboto 1, a very cool Metroidvania that was like black and white, really put its influences on its sleeve, and there will be a second one.
That was Alex's second favorite walking simulator of 2020.
Not a walking simulator. Continue.
That's not what you said.
That is absolutely not what I said.
All right. Overwatch news?
This is for Joel and Joel only.
New Overwatch character, Life Weaver from Thailand.
I don't think I wrote from Thailand.
That was
It's,
for me.
it's
He speaks
written
in Thai.
right there, man.
That was
I-
for me. He speaks in Thai.
Okay.
All right.
Is that relevant to anything?
It's cool that they make these characters cultural.
Overwatch has had a really good history of trying to diversify, actually, and also
Yes, they have.
being very mindful to fan feedback. And
You mean like
critique.
McCree, right?
What was his name? Don't say that. His name's not McCree anymore.
Yeah.
What was the
His
exactly.
name
guy
is
who-
Cassidy now. Yeah,
Who was the guy from Jamaica?
DJ.
No, wrong game.
Oh, okay. Lucio.
Seriously? Yeah.
Lucio.
Oh no, wait, was he Brazilian or Jamaican?
I thought it was. I don't even want to.
Well,
it was the
now
World
that you
Cup,
made
so
it
it's
into
like-
this segment, guess the Overwatch character's nationality.
Yeah, this guy spoke in Thai, so I assumed he was from Thailand, which is very cool.
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's an addition of a new support class character. Some of the abilities are kind of unique too, where their ultimate is a giant like tree that just douses the area with health. When he dies, he drops a health pack, and anybody can pick it up, even the enemy team. And he has a move where he can pull people to him, his teammates. Like if he's in the backdrop and somebody's dropping an ultimate on top of two of his teammates, he could use that move and sort of vacuum them back to where he's at. So it'll be interesting to see how it changes the dynamic of the game. But yep, that's all.
Cool.
Brazil. Okay.
Getty using the internet.
Successfully, I might add. Although that's not a surprise. Does this mean that you're going back to playing more support classes, or do you hate yourself that much?
Oh, I've
I will
just
be
spam
honest.
the heal me button in chat, Joel.
All right.
that
Well-
that is like reverse psychology. It does the exact opposite of what you think it's going to do. Just so people know that.
All right. Fine. Xbox controller remix. I don't know. Is this referring to a controller that's coming out?
Yes.
What are we doing with this? Is a remix? Do I get to customize it?
It's made out of recycled materials.
There we go.
Old water bottles and old CDs and a bunch of other stuff. It's very cool.
Ooh,
idea.
old CDs.
Yeah. Probably old snapped Final Fantasy Tactics discs.
How many of those you got around? Like 2?
They're no longer in my house.
Oh, you don't count the halves either, right?
Nope.
This also suggests that other people snapped their Final Fantasy Tactics disc. in a
I'm
similar
not
fashion.
weird, Joel.
No. This just implies that somebody figured out what to do with all the AOL CDs from back in the day. All right, what do we got here? Rumors, my favorite kind of news. Rumors of a new Sony PlayStation streaming handheld. Not a handheld system, but a way to stream your games in the palm of your hand.
It's looking like a PS5 controller with a screen on top.
Okay.
Almost like we've seen something like this before. Joel?
Back in like 2014, Nintendo came out with a console called the Wii U that featured a
No
PlayStation
one's ever
3
heard
and
this.
4 quality graphics, but with a unique controller that, through proprietary software, would connect directly to the console. Within a short
PlayStation
range.
4 is genuine. Is not genuine. It's generous. Saying it had PlayStation 4 graphics.
I gave it the in between. I said PlayStation 3 / PlayStation 4. So don't start with me.
I've actually talked to people and be like, hey, yeah,
Them's fighting
the
words.
Wii U's pretty good, but no one ever bought it. And everyone goes, wait, what's a Wii U? It's a real conversation that I've had.
Yeah, the big talk from the outset when that came out or was announced is like, people don't understand this is a new console. People think this is a tablet accessory to the Wii they already have at home. And
Yep.
I didn't understand why at the time, but I guess I was just too plugged into things to know better.
Yeah, you got. I actually ask around. I ask a lot of layman people, like people who are just not into gaming at all. Hey, you heard of this thing? And then every once in a while they're like, oh yeah, I heard of this thing. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's where you're at. That's where we're at now. But that Wii U one, I remember saying like, "Man, the Wii U seems pretty interesting," and everyone just like blank stared me. Like, yeah, the Wii was good, Alex. Why are we talking about this? It's like, oh, okay. But this is a new rumor. PlayStation seems to be kind of. They're trying now that PlayStations are readily available. They're really kind of what seems like floundering to try to milk every last bit of money when there's really, like, it's not good for it right now. They're talking about a PlayStation 5 Pro, which they don't really even have that many games that would take advantage of a Pro. So there's that. The VR sold really poorly. So that,
how long has that been out?
What is that? It's been out for about a month now, and it sold very poorly from the numbers right now.
All right.
So they've had to already cut back on manufacturing on that product. So there is a lot of, hey, we got to make good on something. We have to up the numbers. That's the problem with the model of every year needs to have a better return. And right now, they're really trying to push stuff that doesn't need to be made. I mean, like, who is this for? This is probably for those people who feel like they don't want to use up the television.
Yep.
So let me just get the old mobile weird tablet thingy, but that's still, again, that's not that high a number.
Yep.
So I don't know.
I do like rumors, so see what comes of it.
I mean, the PlayStation 5 Pro is also rumored, so.
I heard a rumor.
What's that?
That the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog passes 1 million downloads.
That's what I'd mentioned.
600,000 of them are from Alex.
Multiple devices, that counts.
You're welcome, Sonic.
I've also sent several copies of it as gifts to people.
Nice.
You should play this game. This game's awesome.
There's nothing else to that.
No.
Nope.
If you haven't played it, go play it now.
It's real good. People die.
Mostly just Sonic the Hedgehog. After Tails gets him. Just kidding. Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Switch and PlayStation 4 release April 19th. We are in the heyday here. That's 13 days if you're watching us live, or God knows how many days if you're listening to this as a recording.
That's about the right time range to give. Sometime after nuclear fallout, when somebody somehow connects to Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Whoa, speaking of nuclear fallout, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp coming to, I'm not hashtagging, Nintendo Switch on 4/21. Ooh, so close. What do I got to do to get that 420 release?
Get that sweet, sweet 420 action.
Find somebody that'll break release date by one day.
Street date.
Street date.
That was a real concern back in the day.
Buying pre-orders on the street?
Nah. I mean, they have those things. The games in the store.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I worked at GameStop, we would have them a week early.
It exists. You just have to find somebody that's willing to accidentally drop one out the back door.
Getty, do you know what I'm waiting on my copy of?
Bread and Fred. No, that's the next piece of news. Go ahead with what you're waiting for.
It wasn't. I was just trying to do a setup. I don't have a copy of Fred.
Okay,
no.
Bread
and Fred. We played it on this podcast. May 23rd comes out.
2023. Let's just qualify the year. I don't need another. What's that game that's never coming out?
Duke Nukem Forever?
Star Citizen.
Star Quest.
Star Citizen. Getty, you know what I did buy a copy of?
Filthy Animals.
Yeah, Filthy Animals went 1.0 yesterday, Wednesday, April 5th.
2023.
Play Filthy Animals. You know what you should not play? Was it Rockay City?
What?
Whatever that was.
What?
Rockay City. Crime Boss. Rockay City.
Why?
It's Payday, but crappy.
Okay.
Instead, play Filthy Animals, which is Payday plus Gang Beast equals good.
I do like me some gang beasts.
Yeah, all the podcasts I listen to are saying, I played about 20 minutes of Crime. I played like 2 hours, 20 minutes, 3 hours of Crime Boss, Rockay City. And I got to tell you, I really just wanted to play Payday because this one sucks.
I mean, how much Vanilla Ice do you get to interact with?
It's not so much
Crime
that
Boss.
you, like, yes, you get Vanilla Ice, you get the Chuck Norris and blah, 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 blah. The idea is that none of these characters ever interact. Like, you meet Vanilla Ice, he gives you missions, and then you move on. And then you meet other character, he gives you missions, and you move on. No one is actually interacting, or their stories never intersect.
All right.
That's lame.
Yeah. And apparently it's a roguelike. You lose the mission, you start over. Like, from the mission, like the
Nice.
missions prior.
I like it.
Bad.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I'm 6 missions deep, and then you die, and you're like, well, I gotta start all those 6 missions over.
Oh, I guess I'll just kill myself.
I got more news about roguelikes a little bit later.
What? What?
I'll tell you about it.
What do you mean more news?
Well, more info. But let's go on.
All right, but don't actually share it.
I will.
Fine. I tried. You saw. I tried. Favorite part of the podcast? Freebies. Freebies. Insert
I
sounds
listened,
here.
and Brok does put the sound in. I'm very happy.
Freebies.
Freebies!
All right, who's ready to run through freebies?
I am.
All right, Alex, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Dying Light Enhanced Edition on the Epic Game Store.
I love Dying Light. Dying Light is a sweet first-person parkour zombie open world game. You are going through the city doing parkour moves and building items like a piece of pipe with a saw top that has electric fence wiring on it and a battery pack, and you're running through and you're beating the crap out of zombies, completing missions.
Whoa.
Running
We
on the
agreed that we were
rooftops.
going to cut out the swearing, and here you are.
Did I swear?
Swearing.
Did I swear on this one?
Mm-hmm.
My bad. Bleep it out, Brok. Keep moving. Dying Light's awesome, and people should play Dying Light. I don't know about Dying Light 2, but I like Dying Light 1.
All right. Yep. Shapes over on the Epic Game Store. That's Shapes with a Z.
Shapes is a game about building factories to automate the creation and processing of increasingly complex shapes across an infinite expanding map. AKA, you are building one factory using, connecting pipes to other pipes to make new items, and then you will do that infinitely until your whole screen is filled with moving parts.
With pipes?
Again, once you zoom out, it starts to take shape like a weird tessellation.
Yeah. Sounds like fun.
It's buck wild. Shapes with a Z.
With a Z. What? I'm going to pronounce this, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
I'll explain in the name, but go ahead.
All right. It's Poostal.
Nope.
Poostal. Kind of like Postal.
Nope. Say it. There's an extra L at the end.
Royale.
It's Poostal.
Poostal.
Poostal. It is from the creators of Postal. This
There we go.
is, in fact, their April Fool's game. It's a third-person shooter that says Royale, but it even says in the description, is this a battle royale? I don't know. Maybe you should play it and find out. From the creators of Postal. It's supposed to be a joke.
Where is that located?
Steam.
Nice.
Poostal Royale.
The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog over on Steam. If you need us to explain it, go back and listen to the first 30 minutes of the podcast.
Hell yeah.
Well played, Getty. Why, thank you, Alex. Anytime. All right. Low Oxygen over on Steam.
Explore an abandoned facility on the planet you've crash landed on. This is kind of written weird. Solving puzzles with strange plants along the way, and trying to find out what happened to this planet and where the plants have taken over. Low oxygen. Over on Steam.
All right, we got
Shine. It's a 2D puzzle platformer.
All right, Shiner over on Steam.
Shiner is kind of a wild one. It is a 2D battler where you kind of use Pokemon moves. But it's turn-based strategy game. It's colorful cast of fully voice-acted characters. You search for the bully who wronged you. But it is really like it almost kind of looks like a weird like Ren and Stimpy Adventure Time kind of animation in a weird way. Like characters have like really weird long limbs and like tongues hanging out and weird eyeballs and stuff. It just looks really like silly animated Pokemon-esque type game. It looks very fun.
All right, last
Looking
one.
it up on how long to beat real quick. Go ahead.
Do you need time to do that?
No, I already did it. It's actually not on time to beat, so I may have to put my time in there. Go ahead.
Conflict Craft over on Indie Gala.
Conflict Craft is a real-time strategy game, animated a little bit like a cartoon, but mostly a top-down, deploying your troops to fight and take land.
Oh.
It's like probably like the 17th time it's been on the show as a freebie.
Okay. So, here's the pitch, guys. Our OnlyFans page, we're going to call it OnlyPans, and it's just going to be pictures of Super GG hosts doing the dishes.
I got bad news for you, Getty.
That's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And how can we monetize
it's cooking, but with mild suggestive innuendos.
Now, I wasn't going to do any innuendos. I was just going to do the dishes, and hopefully that's okay.
Yep.
I'll even keep my shirt on, if you ask.
I would prefer it to be a calendar.
All right. Well, maybe next year. Let's spitball in a break. We're back. Back with the Backlog Blog, where we play games with a rewind function. Well, at least one of these has a rewind function. One of them has a replay function.
Mine definitely has a replay function.
So, Alex, did you finish Superhot Mind Control Delete?
No, I played about 3 hours of it. Have you played this one?
I made it to... Now, if memory serves, you are hacking at the same time that you're playing these stages, and you have to hack along a path. How many zones have you gotten to?
I've gotten to the second zone, I believe.
I think I was on the fifth one when I bounced.
I will tell you guys, hey Joel, do you like Superhot?
Yeah.
What if it was a roguelike?
No.
Yeah. It gets more and more intense, and it gets longer.
And they give you 3 hearts.
Yep.
And as you get through, you unlock new abilities like a dash, or like a teleport to punch, or a extra hearts, or if you get hit, your character explodes katanas.
Mm-hmm.
This is separate DLC from the original game.
Separate game entirely.
Okay.
Yeah, but
All
I
right.
believe... I don't know if I had to pay for this one. I think it came free for owning the original Superhot.
You might have got a bundle.
No, I definitely didn't pay for this. That's the weird thing. But I have
Really?
it, and I played... I can just dip over to Steam and see how many hours I played this for. It's a lot of fun. It is Superhot, but there's new twists to it.
New levels, like sometimes you're in a morgue or a sewer, or like you just get like you're in a church. But it's very cool. I did not know. I forgot. It's been a long time, but I forgot that this was a roguelike. So I was on a trip this weekend, and on my flight, I was like, I'm gonna just see what this whole Steam Deck, what I have installed on here, and I've been meaning to play some more Superhot, and then I was like, wait, what are we doing? This is wild.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got sucked in.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, I like the different things you can install to have like a little extra hearts or different abilities, and then getting all the different weapons like assault rifles and stuff like that, and then finding all the different challenges. You, when you're put into a level, your goal is to kill 5 guys, and later on it gets to be more. But the idea is that guys will just continuously come at you, and you have to just kill 5 of them. Once you kill 5 of them, you move on to the next level, and then it goes down a tree. I think it's like 3 or 5 levels per like spot on the tree, and then you move up, and you can either get new abilities and new items, or keep going down the tree, fighting new levels.
Yeah.
Then you get to different biomes and areas and maps, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, especially for like Superhot. They did a lot with that engine. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep going with it, but just
it gets pretty tedious. I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah, but dipping into this and then being like pleasantly surprised with what I saw for the amount of time I played it, I'm very like happy with that experience. I'm like, oh, I paid for this, and I'm happy I paid for it, because I'm like, well, this is pretty good.
So
this
one of the
expected.
Yeah, one of the things about Superhot though is, especially in this context, you have to stick with it for a bit. Levels get more difficult, and you have to depend on, or at least hope that you get good results, good rewards as you're completing the levels. So you might find yourself having to go back and play a section a couple of times. I think that's why I ended up bouncing off of it. It's fun. It's just, yeah.
It's brutal with how far it's, like, cause I've already had to be like, I got sent back very far.
Yeah.
It does send you back pretty much to the jump, and it's like, well, I was in the third area. Well, crap. Now I got to go all the way and start from the first one, and it's not like I can like rush through it. It's still kill 5 guys, and it's still like, okay, go through all these stages again.
Like, man, I was doing so good. No,
that sounds brutal, even for my likes.
And there's no. I don't think anything carries over, right?
Nope. The abilities that you unlocked from the previous areas, but that's really it. It's not like you still have to find them, but you unlock the ability to pick them up, really. The
dash was really cool, though. It does have a cooldown, but you just press a button and your character's like right up in their grill punching them. So it's a fun little like almost like not auto kill, but pretty close to be right up in their junk, you know? So shoot somebody, throw a gun, auto punch this guy in the face, punch that guy.
He's 100% right. So, the storyline in regular Superhot is linear. This, not necessarily, but you still have to manage your resources very well and figure out best way to go about disposing of enemies from room to room. So you can do some really cool stuff, and of course it has the greatest feature of Superhot, the replay, so you can see how cool or how terrible you were at cleaning out that room.
And this was all just a warm up because I have Superhot VR, and that's a full linear story.
Yeah,
it's real
so
good.
I was like, man, I should.
It's real good.
Alex will finally kill himself in VR.
I mean, that's the whole point, right?
Make sure your life insurance is paid up.
It is. But Mind
There
Control
we go.
Delete is very fun.
Superhot Mind Control Delete. Yeah, that came out a couple of years ago. Like, I think we're all going on like 3 for Mind Control.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Very much so.
All right. Check it out if you haven't already. My turn?
I don't want to talk about this game.
I won't bore you too much, but I love boring you guys. It's the whole reason I come around.
Getty, let's talk about this.
I found out that I could purchase Legend of Dragoon on my PlayStation. So I did.
Why did you not think you could?
Was I able to before this year?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah, it's the PlayStation Classics. There's a couple of games that you could play Wild Arms 3 right now, which is why I'm asking you, why are you playing Legend of Dragoon when you could play Wild Arms 3?
Do I need to play Wild Arms 3?
More than you need to play Legend of Dragoon. There's like a really solid like love of Legend of Dragoon that I don't understand.
Why?
I beat it, back in the day for the PlayStation, but I remember it feeling like it didn't have an identity comparative to what I was a fan of in those days, the Final Fantasies, the Xenogears, the Chrono Crosses and Suikoden's, etc.
Okay.
I think there's
it felt super generic to me. Go ahead, sorry, Joel.
Back then, I remember there was a big push for this game as if it was going to stand up against the Final Fantasies of the time. The marketing was all there. If you read reviews or previews in magazines, they were really glowing about it, and that probably helped a lot with it. But also the battle mechanic where you turn into these like super armored warriors in the middle of the battle was a interesting looking conceit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Getty, what do you tell me about your love of Legend of Dragoon?
It has a couple of systems that I really appreciate, and I do enjoy the story, so that's why I went back to it. In combat, you have to time your button mashing a la, let's say, Paper Mario, in order to deal additional damage and charge up your character so that when you unlock your Dragoon ability, you can use it. You guys are just staring blankly, and that's what I like to see.
No,
but this game actually didn't care anything about you, and I think that's why I appreciate it so much. It gives you this whole world. It gives you these characters, which it's not afraid to kill off, whether you're a couple hours into the game or near the end of the game. And the way that it switches over the characters is kind of neat. It had voice acting, which was rather uncommon at that point.
Really? I didn't remember that.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Did you play
Resident Evil
this
1
game?
had, and Resident Evil
Very
2
briefly.
voice acting.
I had a friend that lived nearby that had a PlayStation 1, so I got the slightest bit of exposure to it.
The Resident Evils had voice acting as well.
Limited, but still.
Very limited.
And it's what they had. This game also, memory serves, had 3 or 4 discs.
Sounds right.
It
It
was
a
there.
multi-disc game.
There was all of that extra content, plenty of side missions that you could, if you wanted to, complete. I don't know. This is, Alex likes to call it comfort food. I just like to go back and play stuff like this, and not necessarily the greatest game ever, but it's a lot of fun for me. I can just veg out, put it on, grind out some of the characters, level up their abilities, and progress the story just a little bit to go back and relive the heyday of PlayStation 1.
So this is something you've played frequently then?
I played through it once, way back when it was first released, and then probably a little bit during the PlayStation 2 era, but after that, there really hasn't been a great way to go back to it. So,
was there any sort of follow-up to the series?
Never.
No.
Nothing.
I keep beads on a lot of those old PS1 games. I really enjoyed them, and I know that with the Vita, I definitely that was for me. I know that they had the PlayStation Classics you can buy on the PSN, but I never really wanted them on the big screen. So having the Vita, and that's where I bought them all. So I could actually bring them over and install them on the PS5 as well. But for some reason, this one I just remember feeling like the entire time it was a little generic. It just didn't have that personality that I wanted. But at the same time, the comfort food idea is absolutely apt. That's a thing that I still will dip into Wild Arms. I played another 5 hours in Persona 3. Am I going to beat it? Probably not. I'm just going to keep putzing around in it because it's just like relaxing, and
He's never going to finish it.
I know what's around the corner.
I mean, the icing on the cake is getting the trophies so that I can finally say, hey, look, I got a platinum. I did the thing. I finished all the stuff so that I can, rub it in Bezak's face.
There we go.
You don't get the reference, huh? Yeah. You guys were talking about those trees that would shoot bees at you last week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Yep.
I like it.
I'll slowly make my way through it. I'm hoping to finish some other stuff here. I'll eventually want to talk about Soul Hackers 2. I was kind of holding out for Phil on that one.
He beat it.
I know.
Ago. Yeah. All you got to do is you got to put the word out. We'll get Phil on here to discuss Soul Hackers 2 because
I'm thinking that the month that you're going to be out, we'll get Phil.
I mean, that's fine. The other part is me and him are playing Watch Dogs Legion.
I'm so sorry.
I really like it. It's awesome.
I feel like he's lying.
Just as a side note, not to get into Watch Dogs Legion, you kill somebody who was trying to put their brain into a computer and put it on the internet, and then your AI computer friend goes, well, nothing to do but take a selfie with the corpse and get out of here. And I pulled out my phone. And I texted Phil, I'm like, did you take a selfie with the corpse? And he's like, oh man, I totally forgot to do that. I just got out of there.
Should post that to Twitter.
Wow. I could post that. I could post it online for you. It's very funny. It's a good game. We'll talk about it later.
All right, let's scoot over to our last segment. One last thing. And this week's One Last Thing is brought to you by my post-Comic-Con depression. Had a lot of fun. Didn't get to see some people. Got to see some other people. Still, all in all, enjoyable time. I highly recommend going with friends. Unless your friends are in Seattle trying to fight Tommy Wiseau.
I also sent friends to you. To be fair.
I did not see them. I did see Gordon. I saw Gordon.
There you go.
For like a couple of minutes. He was running around. One of the guys
did not see the Wet Bandits.
Yeah, it's a big... C2E2 is a pretty big convention, so...
Yeah.
All right, my one last thing. I am going to try and finish up Pokemon Diamond so that I can finally banish it from my Nintendo Switch. And there's a holiday this weekend, so I'm probably not going to get to do it very much.
Mm-hmm.
That's video gaming, for those of you that aren't in the know. That's what we do on this podcast. We sell video games and video game accessories.
Absolutely.
Alex?
I'm trying to, like, I was in, this year was the year that I said I'm not going to care about the beat list.
Yeah, sure.
But I definitely have restarted, not restarted, but I definitely have started like 7 games and not done, like, made very much progress in all 7. I plan on doing that at the same as well. I'm telling myself, okay, now I'm actually going to start trying to knock out at least a couple of these 7 games that I have started, which is good. But also at the same time, I was in Seattle recently, and I did. I like to have adventures and have stories, and I got to tell you, I did end up on stage next to Tommy Wiseau. Guy's a weird guy.
Can't believe that. But hopefully that's a story for another time.
Yep, him and Greg Sestero. Crazy people.
Yeah. All right, Joel.
Since we've been recording here, I have no less than 3 times heard the Xbox take a screenshot of what you're playing. And I'm pretty sure that's Kelly playing Vampire Survivors and memorializing.
What happened to Disney
here.
Dreamlight Valley?
That's a great question. And Vampire Survivors happened, and it keeps happening for some reason. But and then they're coming out with new content next week.
Yes,
next week. So yeah, they'll give me a couple bucks.
Did I tell you I spent an hour playing Vampire Survivors on the plane?
No, you didn't. And
I didn't, and nothing happened. I just played it, and then I made zero progress, and I said, well, that's the end of that, and then moved on.
that hurts me. I want you to have fun with that game.
I want to have fun with that game. I'm waiting for it to click. It's been like 8 hours.
One of these days. All right, Alec.
I don't actually have anything this week. Just have a happy weekend with a good Easter, everybody.
You too.
Woo.
That was heartfelt. And that's going to hurt what I have to do now even more. End the episode.
Wah wah.
And that'll be it for this week's episode of Super GG Radio. Before we go, you can find us on Twitter at Super GG Radio and twitch.tv/Super GG Radio, where we stream stuff. Sometimes on Thursdays, you can catch us podcasting. Saturdays, I think Joel's going to play some Vampire Survivors, even though he needs to play Escape Academy.
I don't want to talk about it.
Monday and Tuesdays, I will be back. I had to
You
take a
will?
little bit of a break out due to my trips and family stuff, but I will be back playing Dragon Ball,
Kakarot.
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and Skater XL for Skater XL and Chill.
Ooh.
I installed the random board breaking mod, so now while playing, my board will just randomly snap and my character will fall to the ground, and it is hilarious. I am currently making a TikTok of it.
He said that last week, too. In case
I went on a
anybody
trip.
wasn't...
I'm back now.
if
It's
anybody
actually
forgot,
currently being made.
I didn't forget. I watched the whole episode. I regret nothing.
Not even the time you spent watching us?
I kind of regrets that.
I think was just sitting in the room, waiting to do nothing. Yeah. So, we didn't get to the listener emails. Did we get any emails?
No. I got one like a month ago. He was a nice
Alright,
guy.
well.
I shouted him out.
Maybe next time. If you'd like to reach us with questions or input, our email address is mail@superggradio.com, and provide us a review on iTunes or the podcast app of your choice. Thanks for listening. As always, small snafu here. I don't appear to have recorded anything for this week.
Cool.
April Fools!
Yeah. Got him.
Terrible.
Yeah. We didn't get to do an April Fool's episode, so this is as close as possible.
See, I was waiting for the Poggers ad.
Oh, do it. Do you have it memorized?
To save drink
10%.
drinkpoggers.com Super GG code.
No. Good game.
Good God. Enter good God for 10% off.
All right,
Use
let's
product
try
code
that
Good
again.
game at checkout for an extra 10% off your order.
Thank
at
you.
drinkpoggers.com.
I'm going to remember to write that in one of these times. But
Yep.
all right. Good game, Alex.
GG get it.
Good game, Joel.
Good game.
Good game, Alec.
Good game.
And good night.